Hey, welcome back. This portion is called Oppression of a Thousand Thorns. You know, we've been doing work, since I moved across from San Lorenzo High School and found out that it was broke from the Hayward High School in order to embrace the housing covenant that was in San Lorenzo for whites only. Many former Confederate families from the South, and they made the San Lorenzo Unified School District primarily San Lorenzo High School. The yearbook was called the Confederate. They have an auctioning block on campus. They celebrated slave days up until just some years ago, and they practiced and facilitated the Ku Klux Klan. And after doing research, we found out that San Lorenzo, San Leandro, and Castro Valley actually have what I call a trinity. It began when the blacks started moving into Oakland from the South to get away from the South, and whites moved from Oakland and migrated to this area, and San Leandro had an exclusive community. And I always wondered when I was young, coming up in West Berkeley, how could East Oakland be so wild and crazy? And then right when you cross the border, and East Oakland gets increasingly wild and crazy. That's why they call it Deep East Oakland, as compared to just Fruitvale or High Street. and then right when you go across 107th Avenue, it turns into Lily White Land. I'm like, how could this possibly be possible? How do they keep Deep East Oakland out of San Leandro? These three crosses right here indicate what I call a clan empire of one city, San Leandro, and two communities, Castro Valley and San Lorenzo. And they put the crosses up there overlooking their communities, as they do for all to see, saying this is ours. Excuse me. And whites play like they don't know. They play like they don't know. And they criminalize blacks. As we were reading, my sons and I, Eleanor Roosevelt, the biography by Weissman Cook, I believe it was, and she said it was 3-volume book, in the second volume, that that the intent and necessity of racism is to keep blacks deprived, poor, expecting little, participating hardly at all, and to maintain them in that position. That way they are justified to anyone looking. They can say, look, we're living so wonderfully and they're living so horribly, and it's just the way it should be. So they use the powers that they could have and the corruption of government, police, education, hospitals, and every possible trick that they could to maintain blacks and anyone who loves blacks. How you doing? And to artificially support whites who really wouldn't have been in that position, like old Penny Peck on the San Lorenzo Unified School District. Don't have many qualities about herself other than she's white, and put her on the board. And so the white people is going to support her, artificially support a person who really, in my opinion, is not qualified other than they white. I say, in remembrance of Trayvon Martin, a creepy ass cracker. And so they frame blacks, from Donald Trump in New York with the Harlem incident in Central Park, the police framing black people, referring once again to J.R. Valerie with Block Reporting. The police frame black men nationwide anytime there's a crime. And I have to admit that my uncle, Patrick Kevin Clements, told me that when his leg got shot off, he carried a gun and walking up the 451 Bellevue in Daly City, and the gun went off. By the way, he got a settlement, a couple of $100,000 out of it. But my father came running out the house naked. He's a alcoholic, and saying a black guy did it. A black guy did it. Now, my father, I must also mention, never taught me racism, you know, and I really got to give him a lot of credit for that, because he was born and raised around racism, and my mom left him to go with a sequence of black men who really weren't very good. But my father, I thought my father probably could, you know, harbor resentment for that, given, you know, conditions in society with that, but he never did. And I give my hat off to my father, and I say, thank you, Dad. Thank you for not teaching me racism and for teaching me to love everyone, because that is what brings me here today, because you were a strong man and you taught me to love myself. And so I love black people, and I'm willing to stand up to anyone, including a bunch of creepy ass crackers, you know. And even though you were tarnished with racism and probably had conflicting feelings in your heart, and you were a great man, this is a testimonial of it. In your final analysis, you did not teach your son to be racist. So thanks, Dad. Oppression by 1,000 thorns. So the black man is the target. And they say, that's why I'm up here. It's a beautiful day today. It's a beautiful, look, it's a beautiful, wonderfully beautiful Saturday. Today is July 15th, 2017, and everybody's out having a good day today. I got my son holding the camera, and I'm standing here because I'm trying to make a more perfect union. You know, people have helped me, people have loved me, and I want to love America and love people back, and that is by trying to get these thorns out of my brother. All of these thorns that they hammer in my brother to keep him oppressed, to keep his mind psychologically oppressed to where he doesn't feel a part of. He doesn't feel like, you know, like he really wants to, you know, address the injustices because they're so complete and they're so full, and no one cares anyway, and you know, it's just the way it is. Well, I want you to know, black man, that's not the way it is. That we have had a crime committed against us, and it is our duty to stand up, to educate ourselves and to articulate the crimes that's been brought against us, because it's not all white people, brother. It's not all white people that are against black people, but they want people to think that. They want people, the black man, to think that, so the black man won't cry out to anybody. But brother, we're here for you, brother. We're here. Mexicans, Chinese, Islam, Muslims, you know, Germans, you know, many people in the world are here to protect you and to love you, and we are true Christians and truly decent, and we will do what's right for humanity. Oh, and did I mention Greeks? Yeah, me, Leonidas. Yeah, I'm here to walk into the Coliseum and close the gates, man. I'm a kill and die for you. Only I ain't gonna die. You know, and it's hard for a black man to respect authority, to respect the police, when there's so many injustices that's been done. You got to take your hat off to the black man and to black people, you know, for continuing to go to school and try and participate, and look at all the injustices that's been done with them, from the Constitution, talk about 3/5 of a human being, all that went on, to the slave master abusing the slave quarters and people, to the end of slavery and segregation, to the end of the civil rights movement coming, and they're still trying to find all kinds of ways to segregate themselves and to oppress black people, and they need to be put on Front Street. We need to embrace the law and learn the law so we can defend ourselves in the court of law, because look, here's the thing about it. They're committing a crime, but they hide under the color of authority, and then they want you and me to believe that it's authority doing it. But no, it's not authority doing it. It's the abuse of authority. They're putting on these clothes and then saying this needs to happen, but they're really very horrid, decrepit, and ugly individuals that are hiding behind law, hiding behind democracy, hiding behind Christianity, to hurt an innocent person. That's wrong. In every way that you could possibly imagine it, it's wrong. And it needs to be flushed out, highlighted, and corrected. And which brings me, and it's really not part of it, I don't mean to be mean-spirited, but right is right. And white girls, I know when I went to Cal State Hayward, and white women throughout, they walk like you're gonna hold the door open for them, and I would, because I'm a gentleman and I respect and I love women. But I'm not going to open the door for a woman who wouldn't even look at me or open the door for me. So white women walk behind me and they just presume I'm going to open the door, and I had, and until I walk behind a white woman and they open the door and keep walking like it's nothing behind them. And so when the next time I walked through, I did the same thing. I walked through, and it's a heavy door at Cal State Hayward with the glass door going to the library, and it closes kind of hard. I let that motherfucker slam right on her. You goddamn right. I hope it hit you in your fucking face. I hope it hit you in your fucking face. Understand, white girl, you ain't fucking better than shit. If you can't open the door for a black man, then don't expect a goddamn thing for yourself. Not a goddamn thing. Which brings me to the black man, look, and not only are we kicking the white man's ass, but we lifting the black man up, and we need for the black man to really see himself as a leader. That's what I need. I need for black men to see themselves, to answer this calling. And I'm going to tell you something else. I thought of who black people had. Black people had Frederick Douglass. Black people had W.E. Du Bois. Black people had Martin Luther King. And then black people had some fanatics, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then they, Huey P. Newton, with the guns. But we don't have to have a religion, and we shouldn't have to have a gun. We should be able to step up like any other educated, articulate citizen in a democracy and advocate for our rights. It doesn't have to be under the pretense of any, of anything else, and it shouldn't be. It should be the citizens. We are citizens, wanting to be accounted and respected. That's it. It ain't have to be predicated on no fanaticism. We're simply American citizens. That's it. With the right to participate in democracy and shape the civilization in our country in a way that we find it comfortable and suitable for ourselves. And what I need is I need for a black man to believe me. I need for a black man to believe what I am saying and to make a change in his life and her life. And for us to form a body and I was wanting to make a Black Lives Matter legal help website so we can record nationwide on the website all of the injustices that's perpetrated against us. We can categorize them, and then we can offer similar help to similar problems. We can begin to pull these 1,000 thorns out of us that's been prosecuting us. And it's not all white people, man. My mother has blue eyes, okay? My mother raised me. My mother did not love me. She did not love me because I was my father's son. And I know for a fact my mother wanted me to be a good man. And my mother is a good woman. She's a Greek lady. She's Greek and Scottish. And I know for a fact that she loves black people and hates white racism. So there it is. Yeah, and so, we don't need to be, now, I was in the Marine Corps when I turned 17 because my mom's boyfriend slapped me, and I told him, he didn't even know me. But, and then I learned that, you know, it's a common thing for black people, black men to, you know, act loud, act ignorant around whites because they, you know, they just offensive and shit. So why give a fuck about them? We want to keep them away from us. That's what it is. We want to keep them away from us. So we gonna act loud and all this and come in and all this, and we hope the motherfuckers run away. We hope the motherfuckers just get the fuck up out of our way because we really don't want to see them. We really don't like them, you know. But we need to try to be a little less obnoxious and be more professional. But you use your own judgment how that's going to look. But the other thing is Nate Miley in Alameda County. A lot of people know of Oakland. Raise your hand if you heard of Oakland. Yeah. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you heard of the West Side. West Oakland. Raise your hand if you heard of Acorn. Raise your hand if you heard of Ghost Town. Raise your hand if you heard of the 6-9ville. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you heard of Skyline High School. All right, now. Nate Miley represents Oakland on the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, and they write policy. And Nate Miley won his seat, and he represents millions of people. He won that seat with 15,899 votes. That's like nothing. That's nothing. And we could actually win votes. So I need for black people and people who love black people, like me, to run for office. That's what we need. We need to run for office. We need to make it popular. That needs to be our new fad. We need to make it popular to run for office. When we stand on a corner and drink, it's cool to drink. I drink, and I smoke weed too. It's medical marijuana. But we need to talk and congregate about the laws that affect us, about, you know, the positions that is governing us, you know, about policies that we working on, and then network. We need to use our power in ways to actually help us and help our little daughters and sons in school to protect them from, you know, feeling uncomfortable and being unhealthy. And also the other thing I almost thought about when I was looking down too long, please forgive me, it dawned on me now, is we're popular. Black culture is the dominant culture in America. Music, art, movies, all of that. And what we need is to use our popularity to boycott all racist bullshit. So, you know, white people want to, you know, do the things that black people did, like Bo Derek braided her hair, and white people want to use black slang and black terminology. We can say that's fine. That's fine in a motherfucker. That's fine in a motherfucker. You cool with it, you know, as long as you ain't doing A, B, and C. And we need to ostracize, like they ostracize black people, we need to ostracize the racist white people. So we need, and this is to white people, we need for white people to start standing up to the other white people. You know, and I got another part called the drunk white man, but I'm gonna give you a part of it right now, is when a white person just tells the other white person, man, and say, you know, let's make sure all the black people is gone, man, so you ain't gotta think I'm fronting for nobody, man. You know, because I want you to know, man, when it's me and you, man. How you doing? You gotta go, man. We don't like you, man. You wrong, man. I ain't seeing none of your shit. You want to tell me I'm a kid? You want to tell me I don't know? You want to tell me, oh, maybe, you know, I'm dumb? No, motherfucker. No, motherfucker. You outdated. We burying over you. You know how civilizations, you dig under civilization, you find another one? We building over your ass. So white people need to let racist white people know we're building over you motherfuckers. And we need to identify and gather evidence against them. You know, black people, you got white people that want to be your friends, make them give you evidence and go get evidence on racist white people. You know what I'm saying? And so we can ostracize, pinpoint it. We're gonna bring out the law. Civil law is our friend. Remember the last piece? Civil law is our friend. That's where we take them to court. We use the evidence and we take their shit. Like they should have had their shit taken, their stolen shit taken from them a long time ago. And the other thing I'm gonna say here is all gangs is the same gang. All gangs is the same. I like the Crips. I like Stanley Tookie Williams because I went from the Marine Corps down to Southern California, and I was, my first baby's mother, Sheila, her brother, Alan McDowell, was in prison. He got out of prison. He was a Crip. Before he got out of prison, some of the guys that I met in the Marine Corps, in the Marine Corps, it's all young dudes, competing, having pissing contests, competing and shit. And by far, the Crips was the hardest motherfuckers in America, because they got gangsters in every city. In every city in America, they got a gangster population. And Los Angeles gangsters is way harder than every other gangster. And Chicago got a secretive gangster, and it makes it a little intriguing because it's so secretive, and they got a lot of little secret things that they do. But by far, hands down, Los Angeles, and people from Northern California is like, oh, blood, you from the Bay, man, I don't believe you can say that. I'm like, man, I'm keeping it real, man. I went to the Marine Corps. I met motherfuckers. The Marine Corps didn't like that I had black people on my wall, and they terrorized me, so I ran away. I went up to AWOL in Los Angeles and lived up there for just a few days, and I was, a lot of Crips in Oceanside and San Diego anyway, and I liked them, because they keep it real. But all gangs are the same. The Italian mafia, by the way, Stanley Tookie Williams, when he was a young man, he was in Banning, and he got molded by a Chicago Italian mafia member. And all gangs are really the same. The New York Sicilian started because the Irish, as you saw the gangs in New York, the Irish had it all sewed up, the gangs had it all sewed up in New York before the Italians even got there. So when the Italians and the Sicilians got there in the 30s and the 20s, they was already having it ganged down. And so the Sicilians had to form, a group. That's the same thing all people did. The Puerto Ricans did the same thing with the Latin Kings. The Italians did the same thing with the Five Families. The Mexican Mafia did the same thing, and the blacks did the same thing with the Vice Lords, the gangster disciples, the Crips, and then because the Bloods, and all gangs formed for the same reason. So these people here, they say they're Christian, but this sign right here means white power.